What's up, everyone? Of course, this is JD here, Kishu Dojo or KSD Martial Arts, and it's Martin Luther King Day, so we were closed, of course, today. But I want to get you guys a small video on some of the guard attacks that we're going to be doing this week, and so that way you would also have a video reference. Just like before, so I have my training dummy. So I just grabbed a gi top. I put a pillow inside it. I couldn't find the towel I normally use for the arms, so I'm just going to not worry about the arms since we're only doing chokes anyway. But I did throw a belt on them, and I'm just going to put them in my closed guard, and I'm going to show you guys the techniques that we're going to be doing so you guys can practice them at home, or you can make your own dummy and practice at home as well. All right, so first things first. We are here in the closed guard. So the first submission, the first choke we're going to talk about is the cross choke, the X choke. And so what's going to happen is you're going to feed one hand in, and you're going to go as far back as you can. I'm either A, looking for the tag of the gi, or I'm going to try to make sure that this wrist bone goes behind my opponent's ear. So I'm here like this, but I don't grip hard yet. And now the other hand goes under. I go under all the way till, again, either A, I find the tag, or my fingertips touch. And then I grip tight, butterfly my wrists, and then I'm going to pull my elbows to the mat. Okay, cross choke. So if you guys remember, I think last year we had a little bit of fun with this, and we were giving, we said swim the fish, and I don't remember the fish's name. Maybe one of you could comment if you remember that. But you swim the fish underneath, the other fish goes under the bridge, and he goes all the way. You now grip tight. And you're also going to butterfly your wrist forward. So here, here, butterfly your wrists. Now, pull your elbows to the floor. All right? That's the cross choke. Just like this, butterfly your wrists, pull your elbows down. All right, go ahead, pause the video, and knock out at least 10 of these where you have your right hand go in first, left hand goes underneath, and then do 10 more where your left hand goes in first and your right hand goes underneath. So make sure you knock out 20 total, 10, 1, 2, and then 10, one more with the 1, 2. So we are on to now the second submission, the second version of this choke. And so we're gonna do the cross choke with the wrinkle. And so again, they're here in my closed guard. I go ahead, I get this first hand underneath, and as I'm trying to bring this arm in, they're stopping me somehow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simply open my guard, shift myself off the line. You're gonna grab this wrinkle. Every gi has a wrinkle right there, and you're gonna recenter and then pull your elbows to the mat, just like before, okay? So step one, go ahead, feed your hand in, just like before. Step two, you're going underneath like normal, but they stop you. So, okay, fine, no problem. I drop my foot, make sure your other leg stays on their back. I come up over the top, I grab the wrinkle, I recenter, and I get my cross choke. Let's look at it from the other side. So you feed your hand in, okay, you're coming underneath. They stop you for whatever, drop your foot, rotate, come over the top, grab the top, that wrinkle, squeeze, recenter, and then you have the cross choke with the wrinkle. Again, we're gonna do 10, right, your right hand goes in, left hand grabs the wrinkle, and then 10 more, left hand in, right grabs the wrinkle. So you got 20 to knock out. Go ahead, hit pause, knock out your 20. All right, so you're back for the third submission of the day, or of the week, I guess. And so what we're doing now is we call a loop choke. It's the same setup, the same concept, but the only difference is you're gonna have to pull some of the slack of their gi lapel out. So you're gonna have to make sure that's out. And so once I do that, I'm gonna make sure I grip it, my thumb pointing to the end of this here. So just like before, I feed my hand in. I have this wrinkle here. You're going to sit up, loop that around their head, and there's your loop choke. Okay? Again, the first thing you have to do is you're going to have to do all this work of pulling this slack out so you have this here. Now, you see the arm is going to be in your way sometimes, and you're going to have to worry about that, and you are going to have to deal with it. So when you have your here, if you're underneath, you're going to bump into it. So you're going to have to figure out a way to sneak your arm around. Maybe if they're pushing on your hip bone, then you can get that grip, pivot, bring your arm around, and now apply the choke. Remember, there are little heads in there. I'm not going to do this both sides because it would take out all the gi and then the pillow will fall out of the dummy. So just understand how we're doing this. So first things first, like I said, pull all the slack out. Next, you're gripping the collar. Now, I'm gripping here. Remember, I want my grip over their arm. If you need to, you can sit up and wrap around. And that'll be probably the most realistic way that I do this when I'm realistically grappling, is I will do that little sit-up. So those are your 3 chokes that I want you to work on for today's class, this basics lesson. And now, so for the advanced portion, I gave you 3 guard chokes. Now I'm going to give you 3 mounted chokes. So we're going to do the karate punch choke. We're going to do the Ezekiel choke or the sleeve choke, and we're going to do the paper cutters choke. So you'll have 3 guard chokes, 3 mount chokes. So the easiest one is, of course, the Ezekiel is the karate punch choke. Sometimes called the no-gi Ezekiel, which I don't know why you call it no-gi Ezekiel because you're using a gi, but whatever. So first one, I'm going to grab, and I want my pinkies on top. Okay? My pinkies are still grabbing. They're just on top. I'm not trying to grip the collar this way. I'm grabbing it upside down. Now I'm going to take one hand, I'm going to push down. Other hand's going to pull up, and that's where the choke is. That's the karate punch choke. Yes, this is legal in the tournament. You cannot choke them without a gi. You must be holding onto the gi for this to be applied. But this is simply called a karate punch choke. If you've done karate, we chamber our hands here. That's what essentially I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pull that to where my guard would be. So that's the karate punch choke. So just like in the beginner portion, I want you to do 10 karate punch chokes where you go right hand first, left hand pulling. I also want 10 where left hand goes first, right hand pulling. Your second choke is going to be the paper cutters choke. All the way to the ground, and I'm going to push my knuckles to the ground. Your thumb is what's in the collar. You're gripping and you're punching the floor. And now step 2, the secondary hand reaches in and grabs wherever you can. So don't worry about trying to reach up way high. Don't do that. Just right here is good. Pull all the slack out, pull it tight, and now keeping my knuckles on the ground, I push my elbow to the floor. I don't want my elbow to come down and my hand come up. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep this here and do that, like a paper cutter, like a machine. So again, here we are. I'm in the mount. I reach my hand in. I grab that thumb, knuckle down. Secondary hand reaches, grabs wherever I can. Again, I prefer not to get my arm up high where they can trap both my arms and roll me. So at least if it's down here, if they trap my arm, I'm still safe. Pull all the slack out, and now just bring your elbow to the floor. Do the other side again. So thumb comes in the collar, grab the lapel, pull all the slack out, and then chop down. All right, so that's your paper cutters choke. Okay, paper cutters choke. Full mount. Remember, thumb in the gi. Don't go palm up. That won't work. You won't have the ability to put your elbow to the ground. It doesn't work that way. 10 of the paper cutter choke. So that's where your hand's in. Right hand is knuckle down. Left hand is pulling. And then I want 10 more. Left hand in, knuckle down. Right hand pulling. And then the third choke, one of my favorites, is going to be what we call the Ezekiel choke or the sleeve choke. And this is a sneaky one that I get on a lot of people a lot. And so what's going to happen is you're going to feed one arm underneath, okay? And so my arm is all the way underneath. And yes, I am in danger of the trap and roll, but I actually kind of hope they do try to trap and roll because it makes my submission even quicker. Now, whatever hand is through, you're gonna grab, you're gonna feed your hand into the sleeve of your own gi. And don't grip tight yet, because otherwise it's gonna be too hard to do the rolling. Now, you can roll in front of their head, but I will warn you, most people will see that coming and will defend it. So I choose to go and I roll under their neck. And then I get my choke that way. And so if you think of this little piece here, this is his neck. So what's happening is I'm coming underneath, I'm gripping, and now I'm gonna come and now this is how tight I can make that choke. Like there's no room left for anybody to breathe. So that's called the Ezekiel choke or a sleeve choke. Old school, we call it sleeve choke. The new school, we say Ezekiel. So underneath, as far as I can, hand comes in. I'm going to just grip. Remember, this hand went all the way underneath, so it grips here. Now, I could go over the top, but they're going to see it, so I go underneath. So I have to have enough slack for my arm to roll around this way. Now, once my arm is underneath their jaw, I grip. I try to get my hand on top of my forearm, and then that's where my choke is, and that's where your Ezekiel is. So I go 10 where I feed my right arm underneath, my right hand's feeding into my sleeve, my left hand's gonna roll around, roll underneath, and get the choke, and then I want 10 more where my left hand goes underneath, left hand feeds into the sleeve, roll my right hand around, get it in front of the neck, and do the chop off. And finally, we have our Black Belt Club members. So Black Belt Club kids, okay, I got something else for you guys. Got another one. So we're gonna do what we call a bread cutter choke. Okay, still working the choke sequence. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you 3 more chokes. So you should have 3 from the guard. You should have 3 from mount. Now we're gonna give you 3 more from cross mount. So at the end of today, that's 9 different chokes. And remember, it's 10 every side. So should have at least 90 reps. No, should have 180 reps. Sorry, double. So you should have plenty of reps to get this kind of going. All right. So the first one, I'm going to be here like this. I'm in this cross mount position, and I want my palm down. That's actually important, palm down. And what we're going to do is we're going to do what we call a 1-ton shoulder. And so I'm going to drop my weight towards their belly, and then I'm going to run my shoulder up towards their neck. And if you have to, if their jaw's in the way, you just do it again. And that's a 1-ton shoulder. You're going to push their head up and away, and you're going to cut off the neck right there. So you're in cross mount. Arm comes underneath, lower to the stomach area, and now push into the neck area. And again, if I have to, I can adjust 2 times. So that's the first one, and that is called what? Put in the comments below. That's called a 1-ton shoulder. All right, my second choke from here is going to be the bread cutter choke, as I was talking about. So I'm going to be right here. This time, my hand's coming across the neckline, and my opposite hand is going to run right up next to my body and next to their body. Not on this side, but right here. And my goal is to come up underneath, and I can grab the wrinkle, or I can grab the collar. Probably the wrinkle's going to be easier. So you'll be here, here, and then you're cutting, kind of like the paper cutter stroke, you're cutting the head off. Just doing that motion right there. So if I'm doing this right, I'm here, I'm simply sliding my hand up, getting that grip. This hand now comes all the way to the close side, hand comes up, you see my hand? I grip the lapel, and I'm going to do that choke right there. That's my angle. Cutting that off. Bam. So, just like before, I want 10 1-ton shoulders on that side, 10 1 shoulders on this side. So you get some on your left shoulder, some on your right shoulder. Now you're going to do 10 of these bread cutter chokes. Grabbing with the right hand in the collar, knuckles towards the neck, or towards the floor, I mean. Left hand's coming up underneath, grabbing the wrinkle. And then, of course, you'll jump other side, and you'll have your right hand grabbing in the collar, and your left hand grabbing the wrinkle. And that's the other side. And then your third cross mount choke. Your third choke that I want you to try with the dummy and also as part of your lesson. So much like before, I still have this grip here. And instead of trying to make this happen, I know that's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull the slack out of my own collar, my own gi. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to take this and I'm going to reach and I'm going to feed that over that way. And now, same as before, I'm grabbing that wrinkle and I'm going to pull my collar right across their neck. Okay? So, far side, the side closest to their feet is the side I'm going to pull. I pull all the slack out and I got my arm under the head and I'm feeding my own lapel. This is his lapel, this is my lapel. Okay? Feed my own lapel to their neck or around their neck. Now, this side comes underneath just like I did before, just like on that bread cutter choke, but I'm grabbing and I'm using my lapel to do the choke. And so this is simply a bread cutter choke with my lapel. You can do the same thing with their lapel. Okay? Bonus technique. You pull out the near side of their gi, the side closest to you, and you're going to feed that just like I did earlier. Reach this underneath, grab that wrinkle, and you'll get a good little choke out of it. You don't have to do that 1 10 and 10. I'm just showing you that, hey, it's doable with their lapel or my lapel. Well, perfect. There you guys have it. This is good for both the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys as well as the kids class. I think there's something for both you guys here. So for the adults, you got 9, maybe 10 chokes. If you do them on each side, you got well into 180, 200 reps. For basic, you have 3 from the guard. For advanced, you got 3 from the mount. For black belt club, you got 3 from cross mount. Cool. Go ahead, put in the comment section below what the different he and she and dojo mean. So don't answer the whole thing. Tell me, like, okay, ki, it's K-E-I, just so you guys know. So K-E-I, what does that mean? What does the kanji mean? Because it's written a certain way. So what does that mean for the name Kishi Dojo? And then she has its own thing, S-H-I, okay? And that has its own terminology. And then, of course, dojo has its own terminology. And so tell me what those different 3 things mean. Don't answer all 3. Looking at you, Michael. Okay, don't answer all 3, but at least answer 1 of the 3. And we'll see who gets it right and who doesn't know. And then as a bonus, no, that's good. Awesome. Well, you guys stay safe. We'll see you guys on the mats this week. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys on the mats this week. We got 2 more weeks before the in-house tournament. So let's go ahead and get these reps in so we can be champions. Awesome. KSD, the place to be.